What's up, nerds? Plugged In is back at it again with an all-new format this year. I'm Michael McDonald along with Tyler and Vanessa. Today we'll be discussing Spider-Man No Way Home, Disney's Encanto, and the upcoming LEGO Star Wars video game, and so much more. Let's roll the intro. All right, welcome back, everyone. So, kind of start us off over our long winter break. We had a lot of good Disney stuff come out. First of all, Hawkeye series. Have you guys seen it? What were your overall thoughts about it, especially with kind of the MCU going further with this show? And
I thought it was a very great, what was it, fourth TV show we had from Disney Plus and Marvel. So it's a nice gateway into what we saw, kind of the what happened with Clint, what he's doing after everything happened, and his family, and all the hijinks that happened. So overall, very, very good show.
See, for me, I couldn't make it past episode 2.
Really?
Clint has never been my favorite character. He's always been one of my least favorites. So the entire show focused on him. I couldn't make myself get through it. I think Kate was the only thing pushing me that far, but I know everything that's happened. Social media kind of just spoils everything for you at this point.
so you saw all the new characters like Echo, and of course Vincent D'Onofrio reprising his role as the greatest character in MCU history, Kingpin.
Oh yeah.
So honestly, with those new characters, especially with Echo getting her own spin-off series, which was announced before this show even came out, I think it's really cool to see all this, especially the Netflix show, and kind of these newer characters kind of coming in and colliding. So kind of what was really your favorite, maybe, say, about Kingpin? I don't know, are you guys a fan of the Daredevil series on Netflix at all? So
I haven't personally watched the whole thing. I think I've seen the first episode, and at the time I wasn't really into the whole Marvel Netflix stuff. So at the time, what was it, 2014? Right?
2013, 2014.
Yeah, so
after.
At the time, I didn't really watch any Marvel movies besides First Avenger and Ant-Man. So all I know is that he's a little more violent in the Daredevil show, and kind of seeing him toned down a little bit was kind of weird, knowing all that violence.
See, so. I started watching Daredevil after Hawkeye and No Way Home, so it was big for me just to see Kingpin change, especially with the comic accurate outfit in Hawkeye, which I thought that was great. But I just kind of wish we got the more aggressive side of him that we did get in Daredevil.
Yeah, I think they definitely nerfed him a little bit, especially letting someone like Kate Bishop kind of beat him a little bit, which I don't think Kate Bishop would take on one of the greatest crime bosses in the MCU, but I think that's a whole conversation for another day. But Laura Barton as Agent 19, that was kind of a little bit of a hit to the stomach there for me, because of watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
They had their, Agent 19, their Mockingjay, right?
Mockingbird.
So I don't know. I know you're a big Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan, and I know you could probably do a little bit more justice than I could.
Was not very happy about it. I know that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is technically canon divergent now, it's not canon, which hurts as a big fan of it for a long time. And I just think that putting Laura Barton in as Agent 19 was kind of a cop-out, because they just introduced her character out of nowhere in Age of Ultron. And I think that Bobby Morse should have still been Agent 19, or at least show something about passing the mantle along now that we have the multiverse and everything. That's possible we have 2 Agent 19s, but I'm just not happy with the decision whatsoever.
I mean, I'm with you on that. I mean, I feel like they could have at least had some sort of subtle nod to it. But Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like you said, is really in that weird kind of, is it canon, is it not canon? After its last season especially, it kind of was is it even in the same universe?
Yeah.
Of course, with the multiverse. Who the heck knows?
Multiverse and all the space shows coming up too.
Yeah, I don't know. Anything's possible, but I guess we'll just have to see with the future. But I don't think we'll be seeing Hawkeye too much more after this. But speaking of on the Marvel track, Moon Knight got its first official trailer a couple weeks ago, and man, oh man, am I excited for this show. And let's just start off with Oscar Isaac.
You can't go wrong with Oscar Isaac.
You can't go wrong with Oscar Isaac.
Even though he did play Apocalypse, so that,
besides
that one role, everything else he does is amazing.
He did good with that role with what he was given.
Well, yeah, that's true, yeah.
Look, it's just the trope of people who've acted in worse superhero movies get a chance again in the MCU and get to make something better. I mean,
true.
I think I'm a big Oscar Isaac fan, really,
Mm-hmm.
ever since I started watching him. I guess really the first time I saw him was Force Awakens.
Same.
Probably same. Yeah.
So, and after that, I've just been in love with all of his performances,
Mhm.
and I think he's doing a great job, especially playing someone with a split personality and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
That's going to be amazing to watch.
Oh yeah, that's
on
going to be amazing.
Screen.
The only part I'm mad about is 6 episodes, which most of these
Yeah.
have been 6 episodes, but I feel like this one's just gonna have so much lore
Yeah.
tied into the Egyptian moon god and everything like that.
And did you see it's also probably going to be a limited run? Like that's what Oscar Isaac said. It's probably going to be a one season show.
I really hope that if they do make it a 1-season show, they have some sort of spin-off where it's like a team up with Blade, Black Knight,
Oh, yeah.
and like they did that in the comic
That'd be
books, and I think
cool.
that would be pretty cool. And I really hope maybe we get to see someone like Dane Whitman show back up in the show, because he really didn't get used well in the Eternals personally.
Like
No.
2-3 minutes at max.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah.
And
I mean, with that Eternals
So-
post-credit scene, I think they're setting him up for some pretty good future stuff, especially with all the like paranormal heroes we're introducing now, like Moon Knight.
And kind of with that Blade too. I mean, what are your guys' thought on Mahershala Ali's Blade? Because that's been kind of a little bit of a sidetrack here, but like it's been a little bit of on the quiet side. They haven't talked
Yeah.
about it too much.
I think he's going to do good. It's Mahershala Ali. He was Prowler, I think, in Spider-Verse. So, I mean, he's got the Marvel side to him. So anything that he does is probably really good, to be honest. Because Green Book, kind of more of like way back setting. So
Yeah.
it won Oscar. So I think he's going to do very, very good.
Yeah, I really think so too. Kind of tying in more, this is kind of the first Marvel show that's had a little bit more of a horror element to
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I mean, with Khonshu, the moon god, he doesn't look like a very friendly guy. So, I mean, how do you guys feel about this like change to more of a scarier, more serious topic in the MCU such as this?
Multiverse of Madness is going to somewhat do it, because I've heard since it's Sam Raimi, he's kind of going to bring like horror element. So it's going to play well.
I think it's going to be good. I think we need something else other than the stereotypical humor, some sad moments, and then just balance it out with more jokes. We need something deeper for once. Like I know Eternals tried something deeper, but I think we need the horror aspect of this show to move forward in the MCU and go out of the cookie cutter movies that we've been making recently.
Yeah, I mean, this show is coming out on March 30th, so that's about a month before we get Doctor Strange. So I think this is going to be definitely a nice setup for the theme and like the topics of that movie pretty well. But we're actually going to take a little bit of a hard left turn here, kind of staying with Disney, but going into the animated side of things. Encanto came out over our winter break, and I actually have not seen this movie. I know some of you said you have watched it.
Yeah.
You want to kind of give me like the rundown? I mean, I'm not too familiar with the
I'll let you
story.
take it.
Basics is just generational trauma in a magic house set in, I think it was Colombia. I can't remember the exact setting.
Yeah, I think
It was
so.
right around that. It was, magic powers, generational trauma, and a really mean grandma.
Yeah.
That's basically the
From
whole
what I
plot of the
could
movie.
get, yeah.
Okay, I know that song "We Don't Talk About Bruno" is like the
Yeah.
best-selling Disney song since
Yep.
the
It's
90s
been
or something
the first
like
one
that.
in the 29 years, to hit like #1 on the Billboard charts.
So, kind of, who was your favorite character then? Because I'm sure there was plenty of characters. I know it was a
I
pretty big
liked
cast.
Louisa the most, just showing that you can have a strong feminine character who isn't afraid to show her like insecurities, but also someone who has to balance what the family needs at the same time, because she's just someone I can relate to, and a bunch of people, like older siblings especially, can, especially when she talks about like how she doesn't know who she is if she can't handle all the pressure or if she's of worth in the film.
Okay.
It's deep.
Yeah.
A little deep, sorry.
I mean,
Dang.
this was a Pixar film. Correct me if I'm wrong. Or was it
No,
Disney?
No, just
Disney
a Disney
animation.
animation?
Straight Disney.
Okay. So, do you think that what was the last Disney animated thing that has come out prior to?
Raya and the Lost Dragon?
Okay.
Was that a Disney
Yeah.
Plus exclusive?
No, it went to theaters too.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, it was Disney animation though, so that
Yeah.
early
I think it was
last
Raya and
year.
the Lost Dragon.
Luca
Yeah.
was Pixar,
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
Luca
Luca
was
was
Pixar.
Okay.
Pixar.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
for the animation, since I haven't seen it, was the animation, of course.
Luca had good animation.
You
From
think
what
Lu-
I saw.
Luca was good, but I think the Encanto animation was pretty good, especially with all the different effects they had to do with the powers, and especially in the music sequences. Great
Yeah.
animation.
I'm sure it was definitely a lot more colorful too.
It was very
Keeping
colorful.
with that, Colombian
Yeah.
aesthetic and
Yeah.
all that. So I'm sure that is really cool. I'm gonna have to give it a check out. soon. I know all my roommates have seen it, and they've been nothing but raving about everything like that. Now, kind of going on to Harry Potter, which 20-year reunion TV special on HBO Max. Can you believe that it's 20 years old?
I can't believe it's older than me.
Oh my God, I'm old.
It's a year older than me.
Yeah,
though.
same.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm just old. But how did you feel about? Did you feel that maybe it was a bit of a cash grab?
I definitely think it was a
100%.
cash grab.
Because HBO Max has been definitely doing this. They did it with Friends over the summer, over last summer, and then they just magically decided to do a Harry Potter one.
And they just did it with Sex and the City, I think, too.
Did they really?
They did like a behind the scenes thing or whatever, but it felt, from what I've seen on like the app, it felt more like a behind the scenes more than anything, but still cash grab as anything. So
Yeah.
It's definitely a cash grab.
I mean, I'm sure if for the diehard Potter fans, it was definitely emotional.
Yeah, I mean, I was a diehard Potter fan growing up. Read all the books, watched all the movies. It did get emotional at points, especially with Emma Watson talking about like how much like it affected her growing up. Because there's at points where she said she was about to drop it, like she was ready to give up on Harry Potter, and then just she teared up with Rupert Grint, who played Ron, and it was just a whole emotional experience. So it was a cash grab, but it still hit hard.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they want to make it for the best of all the fans, you know.
Yeah.
It's been 20 years, and I mean, Sorcerer's Stone, I don't think it was my first Harry Potter introduction, funny enough.
Really?
I think Chamber of Secrets was my
You
first
watched the
one.
second before the first.
I was a Star Wars kid, so
Okay,
when I
okay,
first
makes
saw
sense.
them, I was like, oh, Harry Potter, everyone talks about this. And honestly, Chamber of Secrets is my favorite movie.
Okay, it's a really good movie.
Yeah, it's up there. Technically, Sorcerer's Stone, Philosopher's Stone, if you're fancy enough. Not in my top 3.
Really?
It isn't. Goblet of Fire is my
Goblet of
second.
Fire's really good.
And then Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Good list.
Yeah.
Don't agree with it, but it's a good list.
Well, what's yours? Enlighten me.
Well, definitely Goblet of Fire, number 1. Just everything that happened in it, how it became the darker aspect of Harry Potter itself. And then Chamber of Secrets is probably 3rd. And then Deathly Hallows Part 2 is probably my 2nd.
Okay. Tyler, do you have your top 3? No,
I'm not a big fan.
You're not a big fan?
No.
Oh,
it's
no.
been played almost every weekend since it's on Sci-Fi and USA a lot.
Yeah.
It's been played almost every weekend the past year or two, so I've stayed away from Harry Potter.
That's
Okay.
fair.
The only one I've seen in theaters was one of the Deathly Hallows. I can't remember.
Okay.
So
So,
yeah.
do you think more of, like, where could the wizarding world go from here? I mean, we know we got this year, we got Secrets of Dumbledore coming out sometime soon.
Kind of hoping that's the end of the run, not going to lie.
Now, do you think that they're going to maybe do maybe like a soft reboot, but maybe show like more of like Harry's kids, all their
You
like.
mean like Cursed Child?
Yeah,
like the
basically,
play?
I heard that they were tossing around that idea
I
for a
really
movie.
hope they don't. That entire play was horrific. I read it, hated it. It's just so out of character. Also, I just hate the names Harry gave his kids. Horrific. Probably one of the worst things I've read from J.K. Rowling.
She did write it, right?
Yeah, she
write
did.
the play. Okay.
She did.
Yeah,
Don't
well,
like J.K. Rowling. for
Yeah,
obvious
she's getting
reasons.
a lot of hate right now.
She deserves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy. We're not gonna get talking about
Nope.
that right now.
Nope, nope, nope.
But I think one of the big things that we're
Oh my God.
really excited for, and Tyler, I know you've been waiting to talk about this. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga
Oh my
finally
God.
got a release date after 2
Finally.
years. Finally got
Oh
a
my
release
God.
date, April 5th of this year, right around the corner. And oh my God, does this game just look like it deserved to be pushed back as long as it did? Like, it looks fantastic.
My inner child.
Oh yeah, same.
Like, literally, this is like 6-year-old me playing my Nintendo DS with this game. It's just like, oh my God,
Oh yeah,
this is
me
awesome.
on my GameCube with my Lego Star Wars games. I am so excited for this to be released.
I really can't wait. And not only that, it's not some small game. It's open world,
It's-
all 9 movies, 45 levels of at least main story. That's not including side missions.
5 levels per movie and then sub levels, like sub missions in between. And it is the largest character grid that they have put in a Lego game. I did hear that, and it does look like it actually is. So very excited about that
Love
part.
that.
Well, not only
Love
that,
all the
with the
characters.
characters, we get character packs right off the bat, too. We get 9 character packs. Mandalorian, Rogue One, Solo, but I think Boba Fett's in there. Bad Batch is in there.
Oh
Yeah, I
really?
did
Just
see
so
that.
many of the newer Star Wars stuff that's getting character packs in. kind of just want to get your opinion. Who's going to be your go-to character? Out of every Star Wars character that we potentially know, who would you want to play as?
I want to play as Old Man Luke from Episode 8.
Okay.
Mostly.
All right.
I gotta go with either my girl Leia, my main girl in the original games, or R2D2 just for his death sounds.
Okay. I'm gonna have to go with the Gonk droid because I'm just a classy man like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think there's so many things to do, not only with characters but planets. 24 planets, and a lot of the big planets, like a lot of the planets I'm excited for, are Coruscant, Naboo. Planets we haven't really seen a lot in the Star Wars lore as of recently. I think it's gonna be cool that in the trailer you can see like it's not just like one little couple mile area. It's like different parts of the planet you can fly to. It's just this game has been delayed for so long, and to finally see like this game coming out, it actually looks like they took the time to work on it for the fans.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, I already pre-ordered it. I got my deluxe edition. I want my little Luke Skywalker minifigure drinking blue milk.
I might do that, to be honest.
I haven't pre-ordered a video game, I think, since 2017. So, because I stopped pre-ordering after Call of Duty got bad, and this was definitely worth it for me. But I think it's going to be a fun game.
It's going to be really good.
Do you think maybe Game of the Year contestant?
I think it has to be.
Yeah.
With the amount of stuff it's been through, I wouldn't be surprised if it really...
Putting a lot of hours into it. I know that 100%.
I mean,
right off the bat.
This is the biggest game TT Games has done ever. I think maybe the next closest game was one of the Marvel superhero games.
I think it was the second one.
Yeah.
Or maybe the Supervillains one.
Oh,
the DC one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
The last one that came. Yeah, the last one that came out. Yeah. I think it was the one.
I heard another fun. I don't know if you ever played the Lego Movie ones. I heard were really fun.
I played a little bit of the first one.
I've always was like Lego Indiana Jones guy.
I did Lego Indiana Jones and the Marvel superheroes ones.
Okay.
Hated the second one. First one was fine though.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I like the first one a little bit more. But
Second one's iffy. So.
Second one has good characters, but just the gameplay's kind of bad.
Yeah. But kind of diving back into superheroes again. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse Part 1 movie got its first trailer. A little teaser, kind of showing us Spider-Man 2099.
Oh, I can't wait.
I'm very excited. Oscar Isaac again, of course. So kind of,
our guy.
What are your kind of thoughts about the movie? I mean, it's a two-parter. So kind of where do you see this one potentially going?
I like, besides where it's going, I like how in the trailer when they like went through the little rings, it like changed like art. So like it's not like an animation. I feel like it's gonna be a few different arts. It's gonna be more of like an older animation, like the old Spider-Man series, and it's gonna just flip-flop, which I'm completely excited about, and I'm okay with it because it does show like how many Spider-Men we are getting and what Phil Lord and I think it's still Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
It is, yeah.
They're how devoted they are to it, the same way they were with the first one. So it's gonna be a great movie.
I agree. It's definitely gonna be great. I'm looking forward to how they incorporate the different art styles, also keeping in like the comic book style that they had in the first movie. I think that was probably my favorite part. One of the best animated series I've seen in a long time.
It might be the best animated series as of just period, personally for me.
Yeah.
I mean, just how they went with that comic booky style and they pulled it off.
All the dots.
They pulled it off so well.
They pulled it off so well, and I really hope we get to see a lot of returning faces. You know, I really hope we get to see Nick Cage come back as Spider-Man Noir.
Oh yeah.
And Peter B. All those ones.
John Mulaney as
Spider-Ham.
Yeah.
I mean, you think we'll probably see plenty of other new Spider-Mans. I mean, of course, Oscar Isaac will be in there. Is there more of a particular individual you're hoping to see return?
Hopefully the Japanese Spider-Man, like the I think it's the first live-action Spider-Man, the Japanese one with the mech and everything. That'd be really cool to watch. No, it's like it was like the original Spider-Man series from like Japan.
Yeah, got you.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that if it does happen.
But why do you think are they doing it for two parts though? Like that seems a little weird. Like the first one, it was just like I know they probably were like we're just gonna make one an open and closed book, and hopefully we get the support to make another one. But like, you think this one needs two parts, or do you? Because I mean they are going across the Spider-Verse.
I feel like it's gonna be an Endgame, Infinity War type situation here.
Probably, yeah.
More than likely.
Now I'm gonna give a hot take. Do you think we could see like Tom Holland's Spider-Man maybe make an appearance in animated form?
Hopefully.
I hope so. I hope they include the live-action Spider-Man in this.
It would be really cool to see Miles Morales come into live action, which they have teased, and our
I'm
next
hoping
topic.
for the next trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, I think there really is a lot of potential here, and I
Mm-hmm.
think Spider-Man No Way Home actually gave that to us.
Oh yeah.
This is probably the biggest movie of last year.
Oh,
Mhm.
definitely.
It's
100%.
probably one of the biggest movies of this year, for being honest with
I
you.
think it's probably gonna be one of the biggest movies that we're gonna have for a while.
Before we dive deep, how many times have we all seen it?
Only once.
Once.
In theaters.
Okay.
Can't
all
say
right.
what I've done to watch the other times.
4.
Four times?
I'm guilty of 4.
All right, I'm guilty of
Yeah.
3.
Okay.
So-
One in theaters, one bootleg.
All right. Well, that's actually, just before we even get into it, it's coming out in April for
something along that line.
Blu-ray and
yeah.
digital
Yeah.
and all
I
that.
think
So
digital April, maybe end of April, beginning of May
Yeah,
for
the-
discs.
it's like
I think it
it's
is.
a
the-
2-week gap
Yeah,
between
it's
digital
it's
and
usually 2-3
The
weeks,
sooner the
give or
better.
take.
But-
So,
thoughts on. I guess really the big thing is the characters. Let's start with the villains before we get into everyone else that we all know who shows up in it. But the villains. What did you guys think of Norman Osborn,
Great.
Otto Octavius?
Loved him.
great.
I think I was a big Doc Ock fan in the original Raimi trilogy, but Norman Osborn stole the show in this one.
Oh, 100%. The way he came in, I can't.
I
It's
think
amazing.
Alfred Molina did a really good job as Doc Ock. I wish, like, I know we got a lot of Green Goblin and Doc Ock and a little bit of Electro, but I wish we got more of the Lizard. I won't lie, I wasn't the biggest fan during the Amazing Spider-Man of the Lizard, but I think they should have done something more besides just him wanting to turn into people into lizards and just chilling in New
Again.
York.
It
in
was
this
comic
movie.
booky though. You got to admit, it was
It-
very comic booky.
It was very comic booky, but I think they just kind of left him out to dry the entire movie, to be honest.
Yeah.
The reason why I don't think we saw too much of them was because the actors who played them didn't want to come back during COVID to do the shoots.
True.
So like how we saw Sandman 2 was basically mostly in a sand form the entire time. They didn't. They
Besides the 1 minute at the end.
yeah.
Yeah.
They,
Where he,
they
like,
just took
talks to him.
old footage from the previous movies because they just didn't feel comfortable with coming in and recording. But
Which is entirely fair.
yeah, all the voices were theirs. Of course, the Lizard probably had the least amount of screen time compared to all the villains.
Yeah.
But the movie started off kind of weird though, with Sandman being the good guy and just kind of being like, "Wait,
Yeah.
you're not my Spider-Man," kind of thing. And then of course, Doc Ock getting his inhibitor chip fixed and becoming
That was pretty cool.
kind of a
That
semi-good
was
guy.
nice.
Yeah.
I liked that.
I mean, another big cameo we saw was Daredevil, which again for me, I'm a fan of the Netflix series so much, and seeing Daredevil, especially a week after we saw Kingpin, it was pretty obvious at that point that he was going to show up. But I think it really was just awesome.
It was
pretty cool.
definitely obvious, but it still didn't stop me from being so excited when he actually came on screen and seeing him catch the brick. I can't wait to see what they do with him in the future.
Yeah, Kevin Feige said his timeline for him coming back is not clear, but it's not going to be in the distant future. So probably Phase 5.
He's just a
That's
really
so
good lawyer, as he says.
He is a
He's a really good lawyer.
I really was happy that he got to be back, and I think he's going to have a very bright future with
It,
think-
it was well overdue.
I think
for him
it
to
was.
come back.
Definitely. But I also think it's paving the way for other Netflix Marvel characters to come in, like Jessica Jones, The Punisher, which are both rumored now at this point to be coming back. So I think it's going to be a good future with them.
I really hope so, and I think let's just get it out of the way now since we're talking about the cameos. Andrew and Toby, they show up.
Oh, love
Like
it.
the biggest smile across my face when they showed up on screen. It was the coolest thing ever. My inner child came out.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I wanted to get your opinions because me and my roommate were the same way. We were more excited when Andrew showed up than we were Toby.
Same.
Right?
I mean, I don't really like Andrew as Spider-Man per se, but I got to watch it that Thursday morning at 1 o'clock in the morning. So like all of us are like in there, the 10 of us that were there. I was sitting next to my friend. I literally slapped his arm. I was like, "Oh my God, it's Andrew!" And I was like, "Toby!"
I think that
It's
was
like,
probably
yeah.
like the loudest theater reaction I've heard. Honestly, it might have been louder than some of the Endgame scenes.
It
And
was.
It was definitely. I went to an early matinee showing on the 16th, and the entire theater erupted. And Andrew was my favorite Spider-Man before Tom Holland's, which they're now pretty close. But seeing Andrew come on and then Toby, youth pastor looking, was just amazing to see.
I mean, Toby's always been my favorite. That was my first introduction to superhero movies, so it holds a special place in my heart. But you're right. Like Andrew, I wasn't the biggest fan of Andrew. I thought Andrew had crappy movies, and unfortunately, his Spider-Man just didn't do it for me. Now I see that Andrew is a really good Spider-Man, and I think I've come to terms that Tobey Maguire is a good Peter Parker, but Tom Holland can do both perfectly.
He can do both really well, especially when we got towards the end of the movie.
Yeah, I think this movie, it's kind of weird to get your origin story, though, on the third movie.
I think this entire thing, like that's my thing, is like seeing that online. I think it's the entire thing was his origin story. He kind of just grew more. He like matured throughout it. He started off as like a mentee, and now that he lost all of his mentors and everything, he's finally grown completely into it. And so that's why I'm excited for his like college trilogy to see where they go from here now that he is fully grown into Spider-Man.
I think that's good. And I mean, especially May dies.
Oh.
The death of May, that one hurt. That was the nail in the coffin that, she gave the speech with great power comes greater responsibilities, how she
I thought I was going to cry, but I didn't.
I did.
Anything. I did not cry at anything. I
cried 3 times throughout that movie.
I was like, no.
That was rough.
It was.
But it kind of just shows that there is no Uncle Ben in the MCU.
I think
he's alluded to in Far From Home, but
they alluded to him, but I think it was good to not have to see another Uncle Ben and have Peter lose literally everybody in his life.
I mean, he kind of ends up losing everyone in his life, I guess, because with Doctor Strange having to erase the entire world of who Peter Parker is. It really was kind of cool.
It was
a little
cool.
bit. I didn't like it at first, but when I saw it on my second, I was like, all right, I respect it. I understand. Because now it's like, for the greater Spider-Man overall, it's like, he doesn't necessarily have to be tied down by the Avengers anymore. Sony can kind of do whatever they want with him without having to worry about, Iron Man's son, basically.
Until later on. If they decide to introduce other characters into the Spider-Man thing. Because I know Tom Holland has recently said he wants to work with Florence Pugh to bring Yelena Belova. He wants to have something with them in the films.
Yeah, I think it's just probably going to be more like, no one's going to know who he is, but they just know him as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine with me. I think it's really going to make him be like Spider-Man from the comics, because I read the original run of the comic series. So like seeing him basically have the 2 separate lives, but basically at the point where he's now just as Spider-Man. There's no really Peter Parker anymore. Yeah. And that's probably why I really like this movie a lot.
It's probably my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time. One of my favorite Marvel movies, if not my favorite. Yeah,
it's definitely probably within my top 3 now. It's definitely not my favorite Spider-Man movie, though. It's number 2. Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire will always be my favorite Spider-Man movie.
My favorite Spider-Man beforehand was Into the Spider-Verse, so.
That's a very respectable one.
I think my top 2 are this one and Spider-Man 3. I like Spider-Man.
You like
3.
Spider-Man? That's a very bold statement.
That's a very bold
That was the first Spider-Man movie I saw in full, I think.
Oh.
Like back of like 5-10 years ago, maybe. First one I saw him like full, and I was like, I dig this movie. I dig these superhero things.
My favorite live action trilogy, like my favorite live action Spider-Man before Tom Holland, like I said, was Andrew Garfield. I couldn't connect with Tobey Maguire's like I could with Andrew, and like going through loss and everything like that.
Yeah.
Hurts. And I think just Andrew Garfield did he did a good job with what he was given. Him and blanking on her name, but the actress who played Gwen Stacy. Emma Stone did a great job with their chemistry on screen.
Yeah. I mean, Andrew got a little bit of a redemption too with saving MJ.
We all figured that was coming though.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when the trailer came out, me and my roommate, we sat there and watched it a bunch, and I told him like, dude, you know Andrew's gonna save her, right? And at this point, we didn't know Andrew was gonna be there. I'm like, dude, watch Andrew save her.
It was kind of hard not to be spoiled online with the leaks though, which I kind of wish I never saw any of the leaks.
I didn't watch. I knew about. It was just obvious that Andrew and Tobey were probably going to show up, but like most of like the Daredevil stuff I didn't know about. That was a big surprise. I tried to stay away. Like probably the week the movie came out, I turned off every social media.
I muted everything related to No Way Home the week leading up, just because I did not want to see anything. Everything social media, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, nothing.
It was literally probably like you said, one of the best movie experiences I've ever had too because of it. I mean, the theaters was crazy, and it's just really is fun.
It was a great ending to the Disney, Marvel, Sony trilogy.
Definitely.
It is, and I think now that Marvel and Sony are pretty much on sharing terms at this point. We got Venom, a little Venom cameo. He's in the MCU, so
I'm disappointed with what they did with him. Like I get what they're doing for the future, but it was kind of, especially when I saw Venom, I was so excited to see Tom Hardy's Venom in that movie, but just him showing up at the end, it's still nice for the future of it.
Yeah.
But I wish we got more of him.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
we're
Or
gonna
like a
probably,
whole Sinister Six moment.
Yeah, it definitely only had 5, so it would have been cool to see Venom. But you know, Venom will be coming into the MCU now in the future. But before we go, we kind of wanted to do a new little segment where we kind of discuss some upcoming films that we will be talking about on this show in the not so distant future, starting with Uncharted, which I'm pretty excited for.
I'm excited for, yeah.
Yeah, and then along that we got the Batman, which
my
I know
God.
you and
Oh
me.
my God.
That's gonna be so good.
Oh my God.
That's gonna be really good.
Big Robert Pattinson
Amazing.
fan. I'm so excited with.
I mean,
with what he's
he
gonna
was
do
great
with it.
as Neil in Tenet, so despite what time that movie came out at, it was still a great Nolan film, great Robert Pattinson film, along with The Lighthouse. I've heard is very
The Lighthouse
excellent.
is fantastic.
Excellent,
Another
I've
good
heard.
Willem Dafoe performance too, might I
That's
add.
what I've heard.
And then Morbius again, the next
Ah.
Sony film in the
It's only
Spider-Verse.
taken
Was
how long
supposed
to
to
actually
come
get
out
it.
last week.
Hey, look,
It's only been delayed how many times?
6.
True.
It's fine. Look, we're gonna be getting it. Hopefully, it's good.
Yeah.
Then we talked about this earlier, the Fantastic Beasts: Secrets of Dumbledore, which I mean,
I was a Harry Potter fan. I don't want to watch that.
not too much of a fan of the Fantastic Beasts films. And then of course the big boy, Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness.
wait.
Oh yeah,
So-
excited for that.
Tom
Yeah,
Cruise.
a lot of fun stuff coming up here on Plugged In, but that's all we have for today. As always, I'm Michael, along with.
Tyler.
Vanessa.
Thank you guys for joining, and tune in next week for another riveting discussion in the world of pop culture. Have a good weekend, guys.